He sent me Peter, and he wanted to come. I will let him know to come on maybe next week. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you are. We are back. This is second thought Thursday evening. I do have Joseph Emery Nico, the Benson, the second. Is that the second or the third? I'm blind, so I can see. And we have Coach Curry on the line. Guys, tonight we're going to be talking about again. We are your panelists. We're here to create a thought process where you are able to think things through. Just think about it. Where are we? How did we get here? So tonight we're going to talk about the budget. Okay. What are the people giving us? But within our budget, the budget is in, I always bring out and see the political environment. When people, the political environment, let's say, look at the political environment as the father of the home. The father of the home, the man is there, the children are there, the house is there, the house needs to be clean, and how things are allocated. All right. So it is the political environment that decide how things are going to happen. And the budget is also, we're going to bring somebody on who is and every time we come here, we will talk on the issue that we have people who understand what they're talking about. We're not here for the show of it. We're here to inform, and then you come back and give us something in return. So to educate one another where we are good at, we're going to talk about it, and you're going to come on and talk to us. So I will stop right here, and I will bring Peter on, and then after Peter, I'll bring Emmerich on and would speak to you. So I want to say to those of you who are already logging in, welcome to Second Thought Thursday edition. We're here 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just join us. If you want to be a part of the show, let us know. We are open to have this conversation. The essence of this is for all of us to be in the same room, educating one another to help build our nation. Thank you. Peter.
Well, yeah, Sandy. Again, thanks for having me on here. It's always great, and look forward to having this conversation publicly, especially with people like Emmerich, those who really think deeply about things before they make decisions, those who think things through about our country and have love, real, genuine love for the country, not what they can exploit out of the country. That really matters, because when you hear certain people talk about the love they have for the country, it is how much the country can give to them. They love what the country can give to them. Okay. A person like we are, when people say he loves the country, it goes back to, oh, when he was a millionaire, he gave a couple of people hundreds of dollars. Well, I don't know a single person with money who wouldn't do that. Love means the sacrifices you make, not what you give in your abundance. So it's always good to have a conversation about our country. And I want to start by saying this, because most of the time, most of the people who watch this firsthand on the live are usually people who live in the diaspora. Those of us who live here. Guys, those of us who grew up in Liberia and immigrated to this country, we are the last generation of Liberians outside of Liberia. I'm saying that our children that we had here, those kids they're English, they're Americans, they're Australian. They're not us. They don't know a lot of things. They don't know about Santa Claus, how it was during Christmas time. They don't know about those Ganga ball games. They're never gonna know those. What it means. We are the last generation. We need to understand economically what that means. When this generation is gone or we retire, after sending back to Liberia $800 million, that money dries up. If we do not have people who are going to remit that money back to Liberia, what happens to our country if we didn't put leaders now in place that set up systems to make sure that we are self-sufficient, that we are truly an independent, economically independent country? You guys have to understand something. Liberia is not the first country that has gone through poverty or has some level of success and became way poorer after the money source dried up. The money source for Liberia right now is us sending money back to
Yep.
our cousins, our uncles, our parents who are still back home. We are literally propping up the economy, and it's artificial. And that is finite. It's going to run out. That's not going to be forever. We literally need to know the type of leaders we're picking that understand systems, economic systems, and how to make sure that what we're doing is sustainable. This is about life or death. This is not about personality. This is not a war about personality. It's about ideas. If we don't all join hands and have the true conversation and speak truth to power, we're not going to have a country. What are you going to tell your what is your children going to think about you when you were part of that last generation that sat there and watched your country die? Guys, I want to close on this, right? When you're on a plane and you're coming to the United States or you're traveling anywhere, just before takeoff, they give you one last instruction. They say to you, in case of an emergency, make sure you put your mask. In case of emergency, and if you're traveling with a young child,
Hmm.
traveling with your baby, they said make sure you put your mask on first. Are they telling you not to take care of your child? No, they're saying make sure you're in position to help because if you pass out, there is no way you can help your child. Are we putting our country in the hands of someone who's going to make sure we're okay? Are we talking about the type of person? Are we putting our mask on first, or do we have people that need Liberia to help them put the mask on? These people, we need to pick leaders who already have the mask on, who are prepared to help people. That means these leaders have to be experts. Experts. They have to be able to demonstrate expertise because then they're able to help our country. Are we picking someone because he could kick a soccer ball or because that's his time? Because with that mindset, the only person who's going to be safe in this crash is that person. And I'm one of those people not who is not going to sit there and watch my children die because other people chose to pick someone who was not prepared to fly this plane. So anyway, thanks for letting us have this conversation, Yacindy. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I think you're muted and we can't hear you.
Emmerich, come on.
Oh, you Cindy.
Hey.
Peter, thanks for having me. Yeah, we have talked for so long, right? For a very long time. And I think it's our duty, our civic duty to keep educating our people. All right. Even though we are the 1% group, we'll keep educating our people, and one day, one of these days, maybe in the near future, people will appreciate what we've done. Well, the we're going to go into two basic things tonight with the budget, okay, and the government's plan, right? The arrest plan agenda. We're going to see how the uh the budget allocation or the budget how it is going to support that plan. Even though we don't have the time to go in depth, but we're going to have an overview as to enlightening the minds of our people and knowing where we at. Uh, they dream of bringing something new and changing it, devoting. I mean, bringing something new and divorcing from the past. We're going to see how we can put things to perspective and be able to give an outlook to the people to see how much have we done away from what was done in the past. And we're going to analyze it, bring it to perspective, and let our people be informed. One thing I will let you know, if you have a budget, just an overview, if you have a budget that your administrative cost is more than 80%, then there's nothing you can do with less than 15%. No capital investment, nothing you can do. And that's the reason why we are stuck in this position. And that's the reason why we keep doing the same old thing, but we expect something different, right? It's not going to happen if you are spending about 80% of your budget on administrative costs. So we don't even have to go into the details, the lines, but we'll tell you that, first of all, you look at the total budget and look at the administrative costs. You have the percentage of it. It tells you the direction of the country. The direction of the country is just to put money in the pockets of people that go to the office, very, very low on production, productivity is very low. That's all we do. We support people that we don't measure their productivity. There's no way to measure it because one, out of the ministries or the agencies, autonomous agencies, we need to see their financials. I think now we have to delegate each ministry or each agency to be able to produce their own financial statement. That's how we'll be able to measure what they do. And I've been doing my research, asking questions. Nobody to tell me that the ministries they each they are producing financial statements. That's how you know spending. That's how you know who's raising revenue. That's how you know those things, right? And I think it's going to help us to see how we can strengthen those areas and see how we can be able to streamline, the process in some of those places, because one person or you find 10 people doing the same thing only because of political influences. That's the reason why we have the payroll to be bloated, to have the functions of duplicate functions. We have all these things happening. And I think we have to stop it if we want to move forward, want to move the country on the right path. We have to be able to look at those different areas and put people with the expertise, people that have done it, that have had success in their respective areas, and make sure we put people and place them in the right places. We have failed miserably for decades now, and we are still talking and talking. So we'll give the information to the people. It's up to them to take the information, depoliticize it. When we come on, it's not to give favor. It's not to be able to score political points. We give the information because it is incumbent upon us. It is our duty, fiduciary responsibility to the people to be able to enlighten them, to be able to tell them this is why it is. So we don't come here to score political points. We've been doing it for so long. Even after losing the election, the person we supported, right? We still come on religiously to be able to educate our people. And then I'm glad that, I'm with people that like-minded people. We still fight. We still every day we fight. Peter been fighting me for probably that 2 or 3 weeks now, but I don't pay attention to him. Yeah, he been fighting
Yeah, like
me.
you've been fighting in the back, the
Yeah, we've
boys.
been fighting. We've been fighting. But we'll keep it that way in the bag yet. Then maybe the day it comes in the front, then we will find a place in Arizona where he can stand on his side, stay on my side, and we'll meet. We'll come and meet. Okay, so you Cindy, thank you. We'll go over it. We'll have an overview, and I will tell them.
Hmm.
We'll be able to go over the budget, right?
Hmm.
Not looking at the details, and tell them some of the indicators as to the performance of the budget, what it's going to do. If the budget cannot support healthcare, if it's inadequate to support healthcare, if it's inadequate to support education, if it's inadequate, then there's no essence, there's no need of having a budget.
And
There's no
then
need.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Emery. We're gonna come back to that. You have that. Maybe I can send a copy to Peter because we wanted Emery to go since he's the budget man. Both of us can come in, but we wanted to focus on that. Now, before I go to Peter really quickly, budget because in Liberia we get words right and we run with it. The one word that came out during the George Weah led time or regime was development. Development. Everybody talk about development, one development, no specific. It's just development. So maybe building an art house is a development or a hand point is a development. Development. So I want to be clear. I like because I'm a middle school teacher, I like to talk at a fifth grade level below my kids. At least they have options and then insert other big words to get them to where they need to be. So when we talk about budget, Emmerich, from your lens and also from Peter's, the mean start with Emmerich, where just paint a picture for the people. I know people here tonight understand that, but people who will listen later.
Yeah, you see me. Thank you. The budget simple. Uh, you look at your revenue. Revenue is money coming in for you to be able to spend it, and you have a plan to say, okay, the money that's going to be coming in. You list all of your plans and you prioritize your plans. You look at your plans and say, okay, in order to support my plans, how can I arrange the money coming in a way that will be able to support my plans? So I will give you, I'm just going to be more practical here, okay? And say, okay, I have to pay rent, right? So which one, out of my plans, which one really, like the big ones, the important ones, you have to live. You see, food, shelter, and clothing, right? Three major things that you have to support. So from a personal point of view, you say, okay, I got to set up a budget because you want that discipline. The reason why you want that budget, because you don't want to spend outside of what you have. When you spend outside of what you have, then you start to fall into trouble. When you start the year with deficit, shortfall, and so that where you're gonna have, and I will explain about deficit and shortfall. So for the deficit, yeah.
Anything so far I can tell, but I'm not going
Right, right.
My
Right.
brother,
So
my brother, my brother, so
and our people will understand the difference, the different terminologies and the differences between all of the different terminologies. So the deficit is you have $1,000, right? And then you budget it and you spend $1,200. That's a deficit of $200. So you're spending $200 more than
what you
what
got?
what you got. That's a deficit. But if you budget it, you're expecting $1,000, but the $1,000 wasn't forthcoming, right? You got $800. That's a
Thank you. So
that's
let me
that's
go. Okay.
out. Yeah, yeah. So that's the difference there.
All right.
You got an eight
Thank
hundred
you.
dollar. You say,
Mm-hmm.
but you fell short of $200, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you're expecting the $1,000, but at the end you got $800. You fell short of $200. That's a short for there. So different things, and people, I see people that just use
Just
it.
for I'm not going. Everybody will know.
So when I hear people, especially when you hear about forecast all day,
Mm-hmm.
everybody talks about forecast. I mean, a recast. Everybody is
Recap.
talking about recast. You can just every year you have your budget. You recast your budget every year. Then there's the fundamental problems too with people that are actually doing the job. It simply means that we just don't know how to do the job because recast is something that has to be significant. But every year, if you're going to have something significant, then there's a problem. Every year, recast, they got adjustment, right? You can adjust your budget. There's a difference between the adjusted budget, and there's a difference between the adjusted budget and the recast. Recast has to be significant. For instance, you did not expect a natural disaster, and you have your budget already. You know the rainy season. The rainy season is something that happens all of the time in Liberia. You prepare for the rainy season. God
Okay.
forbid. And you had an earthquake also. That's something significant.
Right.
You can do a recast to be able
Something
to
that is unplanned, that is natural nature, that you have no control over.
no control over it. So
Yeah.
people have to know, because you have something year in, year out. Then you talk about recast, you talk about recast. Sometimes when I hear these terminologies and people just use them, I like, well, these guys been in the position for so long. You don't know when you're going to call something a recast or adjust a budget. You just use a recast, and you don't see anything significant. It's almost the same thing happening year in and year out, but you still call it recast. So when I hear it, I just laugh. I say, wow. So it simply means that we are already brain drained. You see, Nick, I don't want to take up all of the time. I want you guys to go on, because we're going to go into this
Yes. So
in big and these pieces.
yeah, let me go to Peter. Let me see Peter take one. Peter studied extensively with other nations, from developing nation to developed nation, from third world to first world. So Peter, before we go back to Emery to kind of expand on that, can we use maybe a nation in Africa, or maybe a nation, even if in Southwest Asia, that have been poor before and actually work herself out of being poor to get to where how did they do it? How have other nations, even this America, were poor before? How did they do it?
Yeah, we can do that. But I want to. We're gonna do that. We're gonna be able to do that. Let me stick with what Emmerich is saying first before we go to
Okay, go ahead.
how these nations were able to get themselves out of the whole financial deficit. Couple of things, right? Today, I want to start by first telling a story. Today, somebody on Facebook said something, and there was a back and forth with me and that person um, and somebody else. So the new president of the University of Liberia, who's going to be making over $200,000 a year,
Yep.
who's going to be making over $20,000 every month in Liberia, right? That's a lot of money, especially to me. It's like making $2 million a month in America.
In the US, that is correct.
It's a lot of
Compare it
money,
to, yes. Mm-hmm.
right?
Speak,
So
I mean, Peter,
she
yes. Mm-hmm.
she said, she put out something out there. She said she want the students of the University of Liberia to get buckets and soap and come and help clean up. That doesn't sound bad. Come and help clean up your university. It sounds good. I said, that's one of the most horrible things I've ever heard. That is disgusting. That's a spit in those kids' face. And my reasoning was, when you have a president who spent over $500,000 on a car, who's got a private jet, who's going to places and traveling where he's not adding one iota of anything to the country. Nowhere that he's gone has made the lives and the standard of living in Liberia better. None of these trips. So you are wasting resources for nothing. And here it is. There's 1.00001% paid person who is the president of the University of Liberia, who's making $200,000 a year, telling the kids, come to university and clean. To me, what you're
Right.
saying to them, if you haven't studied sociology, you're saying
Mm-hmm.
to them, come and make some sacrifice, put some
Mm-hmm.
skin in this game,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Put some skin in this game, make some sacrifice for your university. That sounds good. But everyone who controls anything that has to do with that university or their government, don't forget now, LU is a public university,
It is.
have made no sacrifices for
No.
the people, for those kids, or the country. They have never done that. As a matter of fact, they are spending frivolously around here, flying on private jets, just wasting money, living lavishly, having a birthday party, and then you're telling kids who are living off less than $2 a day, you make the sacrifice for university. It's going to benefit you. No, no, no. You're benefiting from them. This is their country. So when you say, well, someone said, oh, she's trying something new. She's not trying anything new. What she's doing is the same old, same old. When you put yourself first, when these fake, absolutely worthless big shots put themselves before people, that is not trying something new. There's nothing new you're doing. You're still asking the kids and the people of that country to make sacrifices for something that you are not willing to make sacrifice for. And here it is, you're taking the lion's share of our resources. Now, if Joseph Boikai had made sacrifices for this country, and it could be demonstrated, if that woman was willing, was making sacrifices for the country, of course that request would have been legitimate, and it would have seemed in good faith. When you're not willing to make sacrifices, you don't get to ask the underlings to make sacrifices like that. It doesn't work like that. It's a spit in their face. That's number one, Yasin. So I wanted to lay that down first.
Okay.
Second part. It goes back to financial accountability. Think about it, right? We talk about the budget. I hate talking about this budget. Let's look at the budget. I want to look at two things in the budget, even though I'm not a budget guy. The first thing is in the budget was legislative committee, and Martin wrote about this today. Yaseni, do you know what happens in legislative committee? Well, let me try to explain to the general public what legislative committee, why they even need money. Whenever there is a proposal, whenever there's a proposed law, right? Whenever there's a bill, before the bill can become a law, it has to be vetted.
Now where bill go to that, right? But go ahead.
So the bill has to be vetted. So if there was some policy, new policy is supposed to come to Liberia that's supposed to help Liberia, what the legislatures will do is, first of all, they get people who are in that expert field and they form these small committees and they vet it. They talk, they ask, they go to experts, they ask questions, they bring in people. That costs money. Some people need to fly in. Some people have to take time off their jobs. So the purpose of having a legislative committee bill is to make it feasible for people who are there to help them make the best possible decision on the bill.
Decisions,
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
First of all, tell me the last bill that was passed in Liberia that improved the standard of living of Liberians. That's a joke and a laughter. So when was the last time I was in committee debating what vaccine to give to kids and what merit that vaccine has? We don't have that. That's number one. Number two, that number was $3.6 million.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me who proposed that bill that we needed. Mm-hmm. Who proposed that bill that we needed 3.6 million American dollars to bring experts in to talk about? Okay, it left from 3.6 million American dollars in this new budget. It went to $13.9 million.
That's a 14 million. Yes, 14 million.
Listen to what I'm saying. So this money, all they have to tell the Liberian people, we brought this person in, and this told us what's the best practice in to electrify the rural areas, right? You can't tell me one bill they have ever worked on that's helped Liberian people. Name that bill. And you went from $3.6 million to bring in people and talking about a bill to $14 million. Who came in and what did it talk about? What do you expect, you anticipate those people coming in to talk about? Obviously, they're going to get fake experts. They're going to steal $13 million from Liberia because they're not working in no committees. That's number one, Yasendi. Next thing was constituency visit. Constituency visit, that just means the people who voted for me, I got to go see them. And it has to make it feasible for me to hear their needs and what they want. Really? We went from 330,000 US dollars a year for them to go back to their constituents to over almost 2.1 million now. You have to give them to go back to their counties that they represent. So when they use here's what these people do that really disgusts me, right? They use these jargons to make themselves sound really intelligent. It bugs my soul. We see that you're a con man. What you're doing is you're literally telling our people you're stealing from them, but you're playing semantics. You're using word games. Oh, constituency visit and legislative committee. What are you talking about? You're stealing money. When those people come in, those experts come in, you need to show us who charged what and where did the money go to. Until we have financial accountability in that country, I keep telling you that, Cindy, we need to be able to recall these people. Now, we don't live in a country, fair enough, but I cannot sit here and watch these people con and steal from our people and our family and our country and say nothing. Us sitting there because they're playing word games. We're supposed to be educated. We are the ones who are supposed to be telling these people what these people are doing. This is disgusting. This is despicable. So yeah, and the next thing um, we can talk about how other nations were built. They were
Yeah.
not built in this way.
Can we come back to that, Peter? Let me go back to Emmerich and Genyama to give her input, and we'll come back to the nations that came from that place. Emmerich, are you there? Emmerich, Nicole,
Yes, I'm here.
Joseph? Okay. We're all ears.
Yeah. Now I just listen to Peter, right?
Yep.
We cannot stop informing our people. We cannot be
No, we
complacent.
can't.
We cannot be complacent when it comes to the country.
Hmm.
One thing I see, even in the budget, right? Most of the line items, there's no measurement to it. I see people just put numbers. Uh, doing budget, to generate a budget, you have to look at, first of all, the performance of your past activities. You have to look at the history, and most of our projections should come from the history, the accounting aspect, right? What's on record. Well, one thing I see, there's a big contrast, huge one, between what was done last year and what's being done, with the programs being the same, not changing. Nothing is changing. We don't see. You talk about agriculture, for instance. You talk about the NSA, all of those places. The budget alone going to inform you as to how they're going to perform. But we don't see any changes. We don't see those changes, but we still put money to those places. So the question is, why do we even budget? And I keep asking the question, why do we budget? The budget is not to just take care of administrative costs. The budget is to support programs, healthcare program, education, or pension. But our people today, once they are retired, that's that's the end to them. It's the end. They don't receive any good pension, nothing. So if you have a budget, it should be concerning, right? If you have a budget that don't take care of social welfare programs, don't take care of the hospitals, don't revamp the schools, you have LU over there dilapidated, the instructional staff substandard, all of those things happening, and you say you're a sovereign nation with a budget, and then you
Hmm.
talk about, you brag and you boast about uh, doing so well in your revenue collection. I
Yep.
listen to I listen to Double Jala bragging and boasting about you know uh, the expectation being, over expectation. You
Hmm.
talk about those things, but at the same time, while you brag about those things, you brag about increasing your budget, the cost of living, the standard of living is decreasing. You talk about production. When you have a budget that going to exceed the previous year's budget. Then you talk about productivity. You're improving productivity, and once you're improving productivity, it shows in the economy.
Yes.
It
And
shows
people
people
can
feel
feel
it.
it. Mhm.
People feel it. Those are things that are empirical. It has some empirical value that you can feel it. You can know when things are changing. But we are retrogressing, and you talk about collecting more money, but you don't support more programs. The young people in the streets today, we call them Zogo. The budget does nothing for them to carry on a full scale rehabilitation program to reintegrate them into the society. You're not doing it. But the more money you get, the more partisans you put in positions to get,
Yeah.
to pay them. So you see people we put in these different positions, and you can tell that they don't know it. That's why I keep saying the practicality is different from you being in a classroom and just sitting in and memorizing. Those are two different
Theoretical.
things. Two different things. I can
Yes.
look at a budget and look at the line of the budget and check the percentage and say, the budget is not a good budget because it does not support programs. That's the
Nope.
essence of a budget.
Yep.
To support programs that are going to benefit the people, the resources of the country, even with the Constitution talks about fair distribution of the wealth.
It does. That's Article
Okay?
7. That's Article 7 of the
It's
Constitution.
constitutional.
Yes.
So if you have a budget that is not impactful, that does not touch the lives of the people, that's not fair distribution there. That's one thing. As a government, it's your duty to educate your people, to inform your
Article
people.
6 of the Constitution,
Yeah. And
education.
the
Yes.
reason it's part of the reasons why we are having this problem over and over. Even with voters' education, we having
Mm-hmm.
problem. People don't you understand why they should vote or who they should vote or why
Mm-hmm.
they don't, because we are not educating. When it comes to the Constitution, the government is the main breaker of the Constitution, and we sit there. We think it's okay. The same Stockholm syndrome. We think we hold our people hostage because we want our people to worship us because we're not competitive people. We cannot. How many of us, when we leave the government, to see us land a decent job anywhere else? Let us be realistic. All of the people that we see, the bulk of them, tell me, after working for the government, where do you see them fit? Where do you see them go?
They wait for the next government to
They
come in.
wait for the next government. So I will give chance to
Okay.
other people.
Yes.
And we're gonna
Thank you.
highlight these things, right? As we
Thank
go, I'm
you.
enjoying the show
Yes.
now. I'm getting warmed up already.
I think so too.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
getting
you. Thank
warmed up.
you
I
for
wasn't
that.
feeling well, but I'm getting warmed up. So
That,
I'll
that
listen to
is
you
good.
guys and then be
That
able
is
to.
good.
All right.
Let me bring Sister Yama in really quickly, and then Sister Yama, tonight we're talking about, is there a better tomorrow under the Boikai government? Looking at budget as a roadmap to a better future or a better living or a better decision process because it sets the priority. That's what we're talking about. Emmerich is into budgetary effect. Obviously Peter is what do you call it, is an educator, and not only is he trained people to be successful. He had trained young people who are going off to college and going to become millionaires. So that mindset is there. So he's a fighter. And you are here, you're healthcare professional, you know about
I'm a
wellness.
global
Yes,
seller.
I'm not even going to talk about it, wellness, because health is also
Wealth.
what do you call it, wealth, because health is wealth, because you can, what he needs. Steve Jobs said, of all the money he made, the most expensive bed is the one at the hospital. Okay. So health is wealth. So before we go forward, just to chronicle a few things here. He talked about Article 7, Article 6, but I'm going to say to Article 7 really quickly. Article 7 chronicle, right? A commitment for fair resource distribution, okay, and ensuring that the economic opportunity are accessible to all, okay. And they also say the ultimate goal of the government is the well-being of the people. So I want us to understand that. Not you come and take the money and divide it and you talk to the people. The people are the front and center of the money in the country, or they're the one that the government are just the way we organize ourselves, and the people will choose to work for us, and but they're supposed to be working for us for our own well-being. Sis Yaman, go ahead. You got 3 minutes. Go ahead. Let's go. Where you are on this. How do
Good
we fix our
evening.
country? How do we create a better country? Where do you see? What do you think need to be fixed within the budget cycle?
Okay. Good evening, boss lady, aka the one and only Yassini Martin.
Look at you. You
Good
got you trouble.
Good evening, Coach Q. Yeah. And to my own step brother, where I can call anytime, but he don't answer the phone sometimes. Emmerich,
Before you
Nicole.
start trouble.
I bring you greetings from my own constituents in Pataskala, Ohio. Pataskala,
These
Ohio.
are your own
A
I've
suburban
been
city,
sick, Oyama. I will call you. I've been sick.
that are in Texas. Yeah.
a suburban city of Columbus, Ohio. I bring you greetings. Okay. So budget. On a more serious note, hi guys. Is there a better Liberia under this government? And I see you guys highlighted Article 6 and Article 7. Article 6 being education and Article 7 economics. I stand corrected.
You're
Yeah,
correct. You're right on the money. Yes.
okay, so I was taking some notes. So I like to listen to um, Coach Q
Peter. Yeah.
before I come on. So yeah, I like to do that because it gives you some insight and it guides me after I take my notes because I'm new to this. Okay, so Coach Peter talked about the VETA bill, Legislative Committee VETA bill. And both of this, and that's where it goes to die. That's powerful. It goes
Mhm.
to die,
Oh, it goes to
um,
live.
or it goes to live.
Hmm.
But when it comes to our legislative body, it's dead on arrival.
Oops.
It's dead on arrival. So the reason I said the bills are dead on arrival because where are the stats? Where are the numbers of for feasibility for said projects? What are the experts? Where the expert will come from? Have those experts been? How do you arrive at any expert? Did you educate people? Are they working in those same facilities? Because if you had Liberian experts in any department or in any way you want them to provide the knowledge, where are they working? Okay,
Mhm.
so and they're going out of the country for expert. That's where we have financial difficulties, and we just leave it. And he also said $3.6 million. Where did it come from with that proposal? When there's no stats of numbers or feasibility or expert. Well, I'll tell you where it came from. It came from the same place where the $1.8 million came from to rebuild the Capitol building after it burned in 1 week. And the same place it came from. Nowhere, dead on arrival. It comes from the same place where they just want to continue the corruption. Because I beg to differ where, or I dare them to show me where the $1.8 million came from to um, renovate the Capitol building when there were having no expert opinion, assessment, etc. So and he talked about what constituency. That's why I say I bring you greetings from my constituents of Pataskala, Ohio, just to be funny. So you put money, these people, you give me a job to go work to the hospital. That's my job. Then you pay me for working at the hospital. So I go to job, I clock in. Before I go to each, I got 5 to 6 patients. Before I go into each patient room to go see them, you got penny again.
But that's what they're telling us. That's exactly what they're telling you, the Sejama. That's exactly what they're
Um,
telling you. You get
okay.
paid for doing the work for them to go to those rooms. You
So
got to
go
get paid
visit.
again. Yeah.
So it's a constituent. So when you got okay, so we pay you to go visit your constituents, your people that you represent from any of the 73 districts. Fine.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
you get there. What do you do? How many visits? First of all, how many visits?
I
Um,
they're not supposed to be living. Sorry, I'm interrupting. Let me put myself on mute because I'm getting excited. Sorry.
no, we're having a conversation, so you can
No,
interrupt.
no,
So
no. I
the
want you.
assumption
I want you
is
to
all
learn.
of them
Yeah.
live in Monrovia and they go visit the constituent. They don't live there. Even the ones that live in just 2 minutes away. So, but my point to make it practical, because I'm a practical person, I like to be practical. How many town hall meetings are you having during those visits? If you are having said meetings with your constituents, or household from each, I mean, head of household from each of those communities, I mean, those communities, what are the outcome from said communities, from said visit? So you just going to go visit your constituent and paying for it, but there's no outcome. And if there's outcome, where will people that live in the community go and get the information? I don't have to go to my city town hall meeting, but I can go on Pataskala website and I will find out what it discussed at the last town hall meeting or the city council meeting. So, so those are the lawmakers' flaws. But to bring it down back to our people, it behooves them to ask their lawmakers in each district or find like minds like them and say, when you come for your next visit, we have already booked a venue for our next town hall meeting. And then they can start there. That is holding the lawmakers' feet to the fire in the little ways they can. That's to start the ball rolling for accountability and sharing our share weight. And then I would say the action behind that would be if they decide not to adhere to your to as a constituent to adhere to your request to have these town hall meetings so they can lay out their grievances, what is your action in recalling them? Have you pinpoint people that you think that will represent you better in the next election to recall and replace those lawmakers? If so, who are they? What is the grooming process for our next lawmakers? And then what policy and expectation for each district? And then you can start a sincere resolution at the grassroots level. I'll stop for now.
Thank you, Sister Ma. I thought that was really great input. Really great. I mean, you guys are thinking. Peter started us up with some analogy earlier. I think maybe we'd go into that later, which was really, just painting a picture like you just did. We are talking about the grooming process. I think we have to do it. Okay, because there's been so many turns. We're here. So let me go. I think I came from Emmerich to you. Then I'm going to go to Peter. Then I'm going to go back to Emmerich. Then I'm going to come
Yeah.
back to
So, yes, Sandy. So, a
you.
couple of things I want to point out, right?
Yes.
Joseph Boykai came in, talk about speaking of doing the same thing, expecting different results, right? Joseph Boykai came in and said, first he said roads, and then he said agriculture, right? Because he worked in the agriculture ministry. You remember back in 1983 when he stole money? Part of the reason why he got fired. Uh, how much do you have to steal in Liberia to get fired? Just think about how much he stole. Ugh. Like, how much do you have to steal, bro, for them to fire you when everybody's stealing? Okay, that was ridiculous. All right. Anyway, what's the agriculture projects? When we're gonna hear about them? I want to find a when.
Well,
Nobody,
the budget should be able to tell you if at all.
there's
And
no
so that
agriculture
means
project.
it's just a talk because it's not
Yeah.
reflected.
Yeah, but we need to point these things out and we need to continue to do it, right? So you came in and you're a con man. And people are like, oh, this is an elder statesman. First of all, he's not an elder statesman. He's an old con man. That needs to be clear. This man don't care about our children. He do not care about my children. I do not care if he has another air in his lungs. I'm here for my kids. Listen to me. There is nobody on this earth that will come between me and my children, and it's going to be you or me all day, every day. I'll say it right to his old face. This man is literally a con man. Everyone knows it. Let's start with agriculture. Do you not understand how imperialism works? When you come in and say you're going to use agriculture or industrialize agriculture, please tell me where you're going to sell the apples and the onions and where? To other African countries that also have their farmers? Oh, you're going to sell it in the West. To what country? When these people already have geopolitical reasons and they're already hooked up to these supermarkets. So you're going to give American farmers, because those farms in those South American countries are owned by Americans. You're going to be, some African countries going to be competition for them. So when you heard Henry Costa talk about, oh, we're going to use mechanized farming. Okay, so you're going to use machines to generate a bunch of products and sell it where, to who? How? Have you even thought about that? Who are you selling it to? Do you even understand how those products get into grocery stores? Have you studied that? Con man. No one wants to ask the hard questions. Okay. Next thing, Emmerich talked about how this budget, and people are not picking up on how this man's a con man. Just a theme I want to keep going down this road with. They're inflating this budget because they have no idea how to generate wealth, right? Let's go back to doing mechanized farming. Say we make a bunch of rice and we sold it to Liberians. Liberia needs money to be infused into Liberia, not money within Liberia to be circulated, right? Because we need money in Liberia. So even if you're doing rice, like people, oh, we'll buy our own rice, we'll sell rice. And I know Yama said last week, let's eat the country rice. People eat what they like, right? That's number one. And number two, say everyone's eating the country rice, which is way more healthy, right? We still need money in the country. What's your plan to infuse money into the country? Okay, you don't have a plan to bring money outside of begging for money. Okay, so when we talk about that, let me tell you why they are, because they don't have any idea how to generate wealth and to make this bowl of rice, like Kami talked about, make the bowl of rice bigger. They inflate the budget so that they can pay the people in their parties for loyalty. They turn into the spoil system. So all these numbers you're saying, how constituency visit went from $330,000 to 2 million plus.
To 2 million plus. Yeah.
When they go back to when Sis Yama talk about what's the town hall, when they go back and someone says, oh, my baby's sick or whatever, because they don't know how to create jobs so those people can take care of themselves, they literally want to take money and hand it to them so they can play Jesus, right? They can play survive. They can play the rescuer, okay? So they take the money from our money that's supposed to help with schools and hospitals and roads, and they hand it out because they don't know how to create the system to create money, because they literally elected a Bush brain man to lead the country because he's old and it's his time. But it affects my children's future. It affects my cousins. It affects my parents. So I'm not going to sit here as a democracy. The votes that you cast affects my life. So I'm going to fight you for it. Right? So when they take the money and they give it to the partisan, I saw something on there like, oh, they're bringing pipes in now. They're going to have water. Hire the partisan. How is that any different than tribalism? If you're part of this club, you get the benefit from the government. That's not what Article 7 says. You don't get to do that. This is how you create civil wars, okay? This is how you create revolutions. When you're sitting there and tending to one, how is that any different than people saying, oh, those only hiring crown people? How is that any different when you're only going to hire people with our money that support a UP? What are you talking about? You're creating another version of tribalism. This is exactly what you're doing, okay?
Sectionalism.
It's party politics you're playing. Okay, because these people have no money, They have no idea how to create money. So therefore, it's our money they want to recycle. Well, that's not how you run a country. But we pick a person without vetting this man. No one asked him. He talked about his arrest. No one asked him the hows and the whens. He could just sit there and say things. Even now, this man doesn't take questions from reporters. No reporter. They shield him from it because he's a con man. Con men don't want you asking questions. Okay? But us, the ones who cannot be killed, if you don't speak up, you say nothing, you're a coward. I'm sorry, you're a coward, and you're complicit in this, and you are part of the problem. Okay, you're just as guilty as them because you know better. These people, and finally, Yasendi, I wanted to close on this. Joel Howard Taylor said this a while ago. They were talking about how exorbitant, how much they get paid as lawmakers, and this woman, with a straight face, said we need to get paid more. We need to get paid more. And what was the justification for saying that? Well, you don't know who come to us for money, who asked for money. Lady, your job is to teach the people how to fish. Your job is to create an environment where they can take care of themselves, to create private sector jobs. You don't know how to do the job. That's why you have to hand money to them. That's why you have to hand money to them. The reason why we have an educational system is so people can fend for themselves, so they can make appropriate decisions. The reason why we have you working there is to make policies to make sure those things happen. Because you fail at your job, that's why you have to hand out money. So now there is no amount of money that we pay you that is good enough. Because once we give you the money, you're going to hand it to those people and start creating the systems. And those people are going to hand it to the Lebanese and the Chinese and the Indians. And those people are going to remit the money right out of Liberia. So the money is just draining out of our country. So we are literally giving lawmakers money so they can get sent to Lebanon, so it can get sent to India, so it can get sent to China. That's where our money is going. And we're supposed to sit here and be okay with it and talk about its politics. No, it's not. You're literally destroying lives.
Thank you, Peter. So I'm going to add up something that Peter said, and I said this over and over during elections. I said to people, when somebody said to you, and then I'm going to go to Emmerich Denyama, and I was telling people, they would say, "Oh, take your mouth out of Grand Jide or out of Lofa County." I can't, because it's democracy. When you both vote for those lawmakers, because the decision that they make is collective. And because it's collective, your vote affect me, affect the future of my children. So to tell me not to talk in your politics in Boikai, okay, it's sickening. Because that decision you make in Boikai to elect Prince Mayu, or to elect when in family and all of those people, the decision that they make is collective. It impacts me, it impacts my children. People need to understand that we are in this cycle of life, that we are all connected when it comes to the politics. So you cannot remove yourself and say, oh, it happened in Nimba, it happened in Grand Jide, it happened in Maryland. That is not a true statement, because the decision that they make impacts all of us, and that is the nation. Now, the one person, the one most powerful person in the nation that should not be and should be again at the same time is the president. And I think when Peter talked about recall elections, we need to do that. Number one, we need a referendum where we go back to where our city mayors are hired by the people. They're voted in. Our municipals are voted in. Our police chief are voted in. In that way, they are at the call of the citizens. They will work to protect the citizen, not one person. You know, I was on this platform, I think I was on Lofa platform when that guy, I don't remember his name, in Liberia now in the government. When I said, when Waka had won, and somebody like American government official were talking, and they asked me, Cindy, how such a little country have almost 5,000 appointment position by the president? And it didn't dawn on me until that day. Then I started looking. They have over 5,000. The president, this is not Boikai. The president of Liberia have over 5,000 appointment positions, from the chief to the client chiefs to the city mayor to the different municipals. And not only does he, then America with 300 plus million got less than 5,000 positions by the president. And all our municipals and local government, they're all elected by the people. So they're answerable to us. Those things need to be changed for Liberia to force forward. That said, we're going to go back to the financing, because the finance is the lifeblood of everything. The finance is the lifeblood of a nation. We see that right now in Burkina Faso. Saying that young men took over and decided their goal will be processed in their country. Their goal, deposit will be in the country. The reserve will be in the country. In less than 4 years, the world knows his name. The world knows his name. So I'm going to stop here. Again, the finance in a nation, the economy is the lifeblood of that nation. How do we create a healthy one for us to change Liberia, especially for our young people, especially for the next generation? So I'm going to go back to Emmerich, let him kind of bring that in. Cecilia will come in and we'll take a round and try to close up.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I
Thank you,
think
Emmerich.
some of the things we need to look at.
I'm gonna go and come back in because I can hear you guys, but we can I can hear
Okay.
you guys.
All right, go out and come
I'll
back.
come back in.
I think some of the things we need to look at. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, we have to understand, educate our people the purpose of the budget, right?
Right.
That's the first thing we have to understand. What do we want to achieve? Why do we have a budget? Uh, if you have your overhead costs or your administrative costs more than 20%, then you want to find ways and means to see how you can cut back to
So,
have a
Emma,
lower.
can you break that down for us where the overhead costs and administrative costs are? Just put it in the simplest possible English. Yes.
The expenses that are associated with running a program, for instance, your rent, salaries, because
Yes.
we should look at
Yes.
we'll have direct costs and indirect costs, right? I'm not going to
Mhm.
go into details, but
No, no, that one
the,
is good. It's good enough. Yes, it's
yeah,
simplified
so
enough. Yes.
those the personnel, they rent, some of those things that going to be required to run a program.
Mm-hmm.
We have to see how to cut it, how to scrutinize it and be able to cut back on it, right? If you have a budget, any sound budget, any healthy budget, you don't want your administrative costs to be more than 20%, 25%. But in Liberia, you see, it's the direct opposite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our administrative costs alone is almost 80% of the budget.
Yep.
So the
By
question
all
there,
means.
eh, the question to you talk about the private sector. Every day we talk about the private sector. How are you going to promote the private sector when you cannot do capital investment? Capital investment is an investment that you're going to put money into the services, into other machinery that can be able to create jobs or to make businesses to thrive, right? In in agriculture, for instance, if you put money into machinery, a capital investment, the
Yep.
machines over there can give a lot of leeways and latitude for other people to be able to do business and be able to invest and do farming and so and so. So how do we support those things? Even $1 billion right now will still struggle. All right. Imagine $1 billion right now will still struggle because we're not thinking rightly. Instead of thinking as to how we can cut back on our administrative costs, how we can be able to decrease it significantly, be at least below 20%, because most places that have worked, when you do the percentage on of the budget to see what supports programs, they those areas talking about 70% in accounting or in finance have the 70% rule. They have the 50, 30, 20% rule. The rule there is simple. You cannot spend You cannot you spend 70% to support your programs, about 70% of your budget, right? To support your programs. So that's the 70% rule. If you cannot do that, you will not be able to accomplish anything, because the reason why you have the budget is to be able to undertake those programs, be able to run effective social welfare programs, be able to support the communities, all of those things. But if you find our budget not doing it, is because the administrative costs we have attached so high. In fact, if you look at even our debt, we should have certain percentage in most cases to finance your debt, or be able to pay back your debt. You have to even save for that. All right. And it's a portion of your budget. You should not be paying for debt that's going to cost you more than 20%, 30% of your budget. It's not that you have to restructure your debt. A lot of things that we do, and we do these things by design. It simply means that we don't want to do things the right way. We just don't want to do it the right way. Because if we want to do it the right way, it's easy to put people with the expertise on the table to analyze, to be able to sit, to be able to do those things and do it the right way. Because once you start to do it the right way, it will impact it will, it will impact the country significantly. People will feel it. People will Their lives will change. It will uplift. It will improve the living condition of the people. The standard of living going to improve significantly. You'll be able to have money to support programs. The hospital, you have state of the art. You have hospitals. You have the clinics. You'll be able to pay, essential staff. When I mean essential staff, what it takes to run the hospitals, to teach. Those are the places we need to focus, not
Yep.
to be paying partisans, not to be paying people because they were able to run effective campaigns, because they were able to be at party headquarters. And so we're not going anywhere if we don't change it. And the hope some people had, that we had a person, a candidate with the years of experience for more than 40, 50 years, right? So you would think that it was going to be different. You would think that it would be a departure of something that had not impacted the lives of the people. You think it was going to be different in a way that, okay, we have somebody who had experienced all of the worst things in our history, the different transitions. And so at least based on that experience, I'm going to do something differently. But what's happening, whatsoever you get exposed to is what you know. You don't know anything beyond that. And this is
Right.
where I think the mistake that we keep making by electing people from the same failed system. That's what we're
Yep.
going to get, because that's all they're exposed to. They are exposed
Yep.
to.
Yep.
But you look at, I was one person who sat and say, bringing someone to try uh, like a litmus test, bringing someone different with different perspective or different ideas, not associated with our internal politics at LU. To me, it was a great decision, and I see as a great decision. Let's try it and test it. Then now, after testing it, before we can be able to say, okay, the debate there, some of them said we can bring total strangers into our system. They don't understand our culture. They don't understand anything. We can bring them, right? But now what we see LU now, even though we have qualified people from Liberia, Liberians that are qualified, we see that we have tried Liberians for so long and nothing is happening. Someone who advocated on the idea that we can bring strangers in, even though you have a Liberian who's contesting, but the person is a stranger. But now you're bringing someone who more of a stranger. So it proves our point that you need somebody from the outside, somebody who is not entangled into the political wranglings of the past and all of those things to be able to effect change. And now it's proving our point, because we've been saying that they've been taking notes, but there's nothing wrong with saying you guys are right, we wrong. Nothing wrong with saying, but they try to be smart now to see how they can go outside to start hiring people, because that's how you change your culture, bad culture, by breaking someone with a different viewpoint. And that's the only way to move the country forward. Even with the leadership will say, "Oh, you don't understand." But how many times haven't we voted for people that from the same culture, from the same country, from the same ideas, and so? But will still get the same results. The reason why, because they have never ever been exposed to something different. In order to change Liberia, in as much as you think someone is not, or someone had not worked in the government, but that person will be highly effective because they're going to change their culture. They're going to bring in a culture of the merit system, merit based culture. They're going to bring the culture of measuring. They're going to bring the culture of making sure that the way things are done universally, that is to say, look at the budget and say, if we have our budget, 70% of our budget going to recurring expenses or to administrative costs, or 80% of it, then how much do we have to support our different programs that will impact the lives of the people? So that's not how to do it. You can't put the horse before the cart. You cannot move a country forward by thinking the same for over 40 years. You have to come and infuse a different mindset. You have to reset it with something different. You have to be a reformer. You have to be an innovator. You have to bring those things. Those things don't come easily, right? People look at it over the surface and they think that by loving your country, the person got the country at heart can change your country. They cannot do it. They think that by somebody coming from a special tribe can change the country. It cannot do it. They think by them pledging allegiance to a person and giving them out of the different accolades going to change the country. It cannot do it. You have to have a track record of achieving something in leadership. You got to have a track record of not just one time, but for a very long time, or your professional career, to know your level of success. That when people trace your background, people will vouch for you and say, the most cases, the leadership we talk about, nobody, they don't have special classes for people to be the president of a country. But leadership is leadership, and people adapt easily, right? Once you have been a leader before in any environment, it's easy for you to adapt. You can go in because you have the hands-on experience. You can go in and be able to adapt and bring a lot of good things that you have learned over time. Our
And
people,
we will call that the three T's:
exactly.
transition, transaction, transformation. Any leader that is a true leader, those three things will always be a core of them wherever they go. They will be able to transition, they will be able to transact, they will be able to transform. So I'm gonna stop here. But go
I,
ahead and
I
end your
agree. I
thought.
agree with you.
Yes. Hmm.
Right? Some skills you're gonna have will not be directly transferable, but you can go
Yes.
in a system. Peter could be a coach at this university, right? The culture there is different, and he can be moved to a different university, but because he's been a coach before, right?
Transition.
So he can transition. It will be easy for him to transition because he's been a coach. Once he's been a coach before, you can go
Hmm.
into any environment and carry your philosophy and carry your ideologies and so and make it work there. That's what we're talking about, to make it work. The most important thing for leadership right now is to make it work and how you can change the lives of your people. That's one key thing. And it are not happening since it are not happening. So we can't always sit and disparage people that got proven track record in leadership that have done so well. Right now, our country, we are brain drained. We need people with the expertise. We
Thank you,
cannot
Henry.
we cannot encourage people by disparaging them. We cannot encourage anyone by saying, what has that person done? But then come and try and see whether you can even be a supervisor at McDonald's or so. It's going to be almost impossible because McDonald's too will say you have not learned, you don't know their processes, you don't know their procedure, you have not been tested in that area. Okay. And that's the reason why some of our people cannot even work there and be a manager or be a supervisor there. You may think that it's a job that's so easy, but some people been in line for 4 or 5 years and they can be managers, they can be supervisors, they cannot be leaders in those areas. Because everywhere, every field, you have to have the patience to learn. You have to go through the process to learn, to have hands-on experience before you can start to play leadership role in any area. So
Thank
thank
you.
you, Yusini.
Thank you, Henry. Let me go to Yama. You also remember McDonald is a multi-billion-dollar organization. So they're not like the way you can't even go there. So they're particular about who they hire. Says Yama, your thought?
Okay. That's why I got some thoughts. Let me position my mischief, myself. I have my own teleprompter here. So I
Yeah.
write on stuff and I
Mhm.
tag it to my water bottle so I can read with my face up.
Oh,
That's my manual teleprompter. Okay. Anyways, so since you're saying my personal boss lady talk about referendum of the executive. So I'm going to ask some questions for information first
mhm.
before I proceed. My question is, having a you said referendum implies that something you want to change something. So you're saying that the executive branch has the tax of appointing all municipalities,
Mhm.
example, like mayor, police chief, superintendent. My question is, historically, has it always been this way? If
Nah.
no, when did it change? Then when did the process
Yeah,
turn?
can I jump in real quick because I
Yeah,
want to
go
clear
ahead.
up something.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Mhm.
Referendum is not it's not that. Referendum is simply a citizen proposed law, right?
Proposal, yeah.
So
Okay.
Mhm.
there are three ways laws are made, right? The president can propose, he doesn't make it law, but he can propose it to his legislator who supports him and they can write the bill. The
Okay.
legislators themselves, whether the Senate or the House, the bill can originate there. And the third way is
Right.
going to be citizens proposed law. So what we're saying when we say a referendum, we as the citizens, because they're not going to do it, we as the citizens can say we want this, and
Okay.
it has to be democracy. That has to be. So I just want to clear that up.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification, Coach Q. So my question still stands. Has the executive always had this responsibility, or did they change it? If they changed, when did they change and why? Anybody can answer.
I think it will change with the city mayor. It will change on a Ellen government. Um, when we introduced the brown envelope, where she has said was Liberia did not have the fundings to do municipal elections.
Questions.
Yeah, so that's when we took down those guardrails.
Can I add to that?
Yeah,
So I don't know when those because you said there are over 500. There's so many. I don't know when any. We have to
over
look at
5,000.
5,000. We have to
I
look
know.
at the
I know
particular.
the president of America only had 3,400 appointees he have to
Yeah.
make.
So
Yeah.
Can you
we have
imagine
to
a
look at
small
the
country like that?
yeah we have to look at the particular positions to find out when they got initiated. But here's what
Okay.
I do want to say. Ellen was really 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 bad for Liberia.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you one example. No, no, no. She was she Ellen
Very
was
bad.
Ellen was a black widow for Liberia. And we need to sit and stop being polite about that. Besides the fact that she went to and worked with the CIA and conjure up a lie about this tribal feud that was going on that was not there. No one can tell you a history of that before, so she can get a get back of what happened to her when those people got killed and she was part of that and she went to jail and whatever happened to her. The fact that she was able to get away with the 250,000 Liberians who got killed, the fact that when she took over, her excuse making, because these people did not know how the culture worked, her excuse making, her saying that we need to pay, this when the pay of these lawmakers and these government workers went up. We need
It was
extra
all
people.
orchestrated. It was a very
Yes,
designed
he,
distraction.
her. Besides the fact, so her raising up the how much we paying these people was never like that. Her bringing her nepotism, bringing her family in to steal money from our country and then making excuses about it. Okay, she was bad for our country. She didn't. Her legacy for that country to the day she dies is going to be some one of negativity. It was
So,
horrible. The things she took from that country is not what she gives to that country. And she pretended to be informed and educated about things she's not. Going to the Kennedy School, the school that is there to build capacity in third world countries, does not make you a Harvard graduate. And even if you're a Harvard graduate, does not make you a leader.
Oh
Ellen
no,
was bad for that.
it wasn't lack of knowledge. It was high class, vindictive, I would get my get back. And it
So
all
let
stemmed
me,
from,
sis
I think
Mama.
it all stemmed, I think it all stemmed from the deep-seated issue of revenge.
Okay,
That's
sis
why the
Mama,
implementation of the
are you
TRC
there?
was very important.
Sis
I'm
Mama,
here.
can you hear me? Here it is. Liberia stopped directly electing city mayor in 2012 under the administration of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. This change came after the passage of the Act to repeal the municipal election law of 2012. Where you going? You're good? Okay,
Okay.
2012, which ended the direct election of city mayor and replaced them with appointed officials.
So it was very
And then,
strategic. There's a person that live in the free world, and there's a person that knows that having these municipalities positions um, elected, what it does is create some sense of check and balance. She didn't want to be checked, and she didn't want the country to be balanced. And it all stemmed from, in my opinion, the deep-seated hatred from killing those men on the pole. That's what happened when
Those corrupt,
investment. Well,
those corrupt men that created a caste system in
true,
Liberia
true, but hatred
that
is hatred.
prevented
It's
other people's children from moving forward for generations after generations.
that
So
that that
someone
that
tell
could
me
be
how you're
true,
generating
but two things can be right and two things can be wrong. The thing about it, the Loma people say, I don't want to speak any Loma, but the Loma people say submissiveness does not kill hatred. What it's telling us in this instant, in as much she fought and Liberia still crowned her the first female president of the whole continent. You think she'll be grateful and be submissive to our plight, but it still did not kill hatred. Submissiveness never kill hatred. So when somebody hates you, I don't care what you give them, they will not appreciate it. You know why? Because in Robert Greene's book say the biggest burden to carry is the burden of gratitude.
yeah,
Are you kidding me? That's the biggest burden. People normally don't like to show gratefulness. So it's a burden. Can you imagine burden? I mean, gratitude is the biggest burden. So I don't care what you gave her, may her king of the whole world. That hatred has festered. Even though the people that she was hating the nation for, they too, like you said, were corrupt and when they and put generations in this plight. So it still comes up when you do not do the right thing. Charity begins at home and it ends abroad. If we do not implement the TRC, this too will continue because new people hatred are festering and will come back to resentment. That's why it's always good to do the right thing, even if it hurts from the beginning.
I think me
And
and
don't,
Emery talked about that today briefly.
yeah.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Sister
so that's what happening.
Thank you. So it gave them about 33% to a point, and under that 33%, they have their own city to manage. So the president is literally a king
Thank
in
you.
Liberia, imperial
That's why I
king.
asked that question. It was a
Yes.
setup. It was a she knew what she was doing.
So I will go back to it's Peter, right? Peter, then we'll go to Emmerich, then we'll try to close from there. Peter, yes.
Are we closing now? Or there's another round.
I think we're about to close. Whatever when
Okay,
you
so
finish,
I can close here. All right.
yeah, when you
So a
finish
couple
your
of
thought,
things.
then
I want to
leave your
start.
message. Yes.
Yeah, there's never going to be a time I'm going to be in public, and I'm not going to show how my displeasure for how much of a con man Joseph Boycott is. And I do that on purpose because he's an older man, and you're supposed to show reverence and respect, and that's who I am. Anyone who knows me in the personal life, but you know who I'm not going to show reverence and respect to? Someone who hurts my children. I'm not going
Yep.
to show reverence to a child molester who cussed his grandpa. He touched my son or my daughter. So I'm going to show you reverence. You can go and like, you go kill yourself. Okay. You hurt my children. I will hurt you. I will hurt you. I will come to your house and I'll do it for your family. That would never change about me. So if you see my energy about Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the more we learn about what happened and the lies that were told for her to get her get back, that's never going to
Yeah.
go away. That's not okay that you did that.
No.
Just like people feel about the Jewish people who Hitler targeted, and whatever he thought merit he had, it was wrong. You don't go and kill a bunch of people because of whatever. And those people had no direct effect on your lives. You don't do that. So the fact that she believes she's getting away with it, maybe that's why God made her son a homosexual. But
I
that's for a different day.
fear.
Okay. No, let me
Hey, he's gonna say what he gotta say. Now close
let
it,
me
man.
land.
Okay, okay. So Peter, we gotta.
Yes.
I gotta talk to him back.
No,
Yes.
no, no,
Go
no.
ahead.
I mean it, and that's it's
It's a
common, right?
crossfire session. It's a
It's,
crossfire session.
it's
Go ahead,
common.
Coach
I'm gonna
P.
say, if she was here, I would say to her face, because if my kid came out like that, I'll literally be heartbroken. No disrespect to gay people, but I'm saying that, yeah, I don't want my
Peter,
boy.
Peter, sorry for interjecting.
Uh,
And her punishment will also be adding to what you just said. Her punishment will also be she got 4 sons. She'll bury 2. She will bury the other 2 before she die.
yeah, yeah,
Carry
and
on.
and and then yeah, good. She killed a lot of people's children, a lot, because of her hatred in her heart. So that's number one. Number two, Joseph Boyka couldn't get a job as a manager at McDonald's. We know that. I would love to see him go to the interview process. What's he going to say? Oh, they're going to get that comment out of here. He's going to be stealing fries and chicken nuggets. We don't trust him. There's nothing about him that's trustworthy. So we shouldn't even talk about the managerial position just because it's McDonald's. Doesn't mean you get to manage their billion-dollar corporation, billions and billions of dollars. He's not qualified for that. So when Emmerich talked about that, he's right. We need a different type of leader. We need a Cummings. I'm saying the name. We need someone like that with that skill set. But they didn't want him in this good old boy network because they wanted to steal money. If you're going to sit there and hold people accountable and say, no, the mayors should be elected, now Ellen cannot pay them and use brown envelopes and manipulate them. They don't get to have access to the money they used to have. They don't know how to generate money. The only place they can get money is selling our natural resources or allowing these foreigners to exploit our country for pennies on a dollar, and they benefit from it. They send their kids to the US, they send their kids to England, and they benefit from that. So that's a problem. Okay, guys, I want to literally close on 2 things. We are sending unsophisticated people to negotiate for our countries in a sophisticated world. We are sending out unsophisticated people to negotiate for our children's future in a sophisticated world, right? You have Eugene Fagan, whatever beef he's having with Stanton, airing it on Facebook,
Peter, leave me alone today, man.
airing it on
Peter's on
Facebook
fire.
like two high school girls. That's the man that's running our national broadcast system. Are you serious? That's a decision maker. Look at what we're doing and what these people are doing. They want to bring back a guy in Georgia because he loves the country. Well, how do you love the country? He built parks. Somebody said that he built parks. First of all, not with his money. He said build park. He didn't come up with a plan to generate money to create jobs. How we're going to infuse money? How to do something to exploit some manufactured thing in Liberia? How to better the education system or the healthcare system? How to generate more doctors and some architects and some STEM educated kids? No, he built them. He told them to go build park. That I saw in England, in France, build one park. So he should be back president and hurt other people's children with the money that he stole and the auditors that he killed. How many more other people he's going to have to kill when he steals some more money and try to expose them? Okay, you can't say one thing of merit that he's going to bring to the country. But he's from my tribe and he's from my party, and the man can relate to people. Relate to people. That's what we're going to eat. We're going to eat. Relate to people.
Relate to people.
So,
We take you to the hospital. We send your
so,
child to school.
so at the end of
The
the
day
day,
down to
Yasini,
earth will create job for you.
at the end of the day, so true. At the end of the day, Yasendi, we
Mhm.
need to look at how we're electing, the type of people we're electing, and people need to understand this. When you insult me and say get out of Liberia business because you're not president living there, as if you get to remove my birthright, or you get to tell me how my children and my family members, my
Thank you.
blood is going to live, you are starting a war. I'm saying this, guys. I'm saying this. There is literally a war, a cold war, because it's not a active war. It is an active war, but it's not killing each other. There's a cold war on the decency of our people. When these legislatures think that when you come to them, they're supposed to hand you money and then come back the next time with hand you money. That's an assault on the decency of another man. I'm a man. I'm not supposed to come to you for money for my woman or my children. That is immoral. That's disgusting.
Yes.
When a man cannot go and work in hard labor and bring, you think that's how proud Liberian men want to live? Go and beg another man for money? You think you really believe that? But these people don't know how to create the environment to create jobs so those people can take care of themselves. But you want to hold those people accountable. You're disgusting. You're disgusting. And you're setting up, if you don't create an environment for financial, for us, for economic development, you're going to create the environment for a revolution. And that's what you guys are creating. And I'm telling you, some of us is not about talking. Sooner or later, you guys will realize what you're doing. You don't go about hurting other people's feelings by conning them and stealing from them and doing it in our faces like we don't know or we don't see what's going on. Thank you again, Yasendi, for letting us have this conversation
So
and the passion that you guys
is
see
that
is
your
great.
message to the Liberian? What's your message to the Liberian people? 1 minute.
Well, that is my message. My message to Liberian people is what I said, and I will repeat it. When you wake me out of bed, I'll repeat it. At the end of the day, accountability matters. Accountability matters. When Ellen unplugged those guardrails, when we have integrated institutions that have been infiltrated by the executive, when the executive can dictate to the legislature and tell the Supreme Court and the judicial what to do, we don't have a country. We need to put the power back in the hands of the people. The power needs to go back to the people. The way we do that is we have a referendum where we can recall these elected officials after they got elected as soon as they're found corrupt or they do something that we no longer have faith in them. We need that revolution to happen. We need to have recall elections to remove these people. Until then, until we can hold these elected officials accountable, nothing's going to change because there's no reason for them to change. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm gonna go back to Emmerich. Emmerich, enlighten us, and then close. And before you close, uh, your message to the Liberian people. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think Emmerich just sent a message. Something came up. So Yasendi, you have to.
Okay,
I can
so I'm
go. I
gonna
can
go to
go.
Sis Manyama. Sis Yama, go ahead.
Okay. So, my Liberian people, I'll give you a message right now. The spotlight is on us, both in the diaspora and in Liberia. The spotlight is on those 73 districts. Um, if we want to reap the benefit of a world-class healthcare system and a vibrant economy, I'll just say via agriculture. We just speak agriculture and healthcare. We have to first recognize that the leaders we elect, their vision, the size of their vision, the creativity of their vision, what they see, not only for now, but for in the future, we have to evaluate those leaders' vision. We can be evaluated when they come for their so-called town hall visit or visit of the constituents, we have to ask them, what is your vision? So we can help you provide a vision. If you do not agree with the vision, or the lawmaker cannot articulate or say out what the vision is in the third or fourth grade language, because 80% of our people are not illiterate to the Queen's language, you need to be able to break it down. When you clear with that vision, the other caveat to that is also, what's the weight of the integrity? You can have all the creativity, all the vision, and all the expert. If anybody that want to give you all that does not have integrity, let them go with a vision. Because if they are inherently corrupt, they will not pursue those vision in which they have so well articulated. So that is our mandate. So to break it down a little bit, because I joined this platform based on all sizing up the problems in our country, pinning out the historical nature of how we got here, and also how can we move forward. So the moving forward tonight, I say I will pick on healthcare and agriculture. I'm not diverse in agriculture, but our leader, our current leader now, supposed to have a lot of experience in agriculture. In the event that he has forgotten his experience, from my lay point of view, that right now have stepped in the realm of healthy living and clean eating. Let's start with agriculture. Coach Q did mention about the country rice, which is, I mean, he brought it up, I brought it up the last time. But let's start from the grounds, the basic. In agriculture, we have 5 million people, 73 districts. Most of the 73 districts, the ones that are away from Maserado, have vast amount of lands that government own. So because nobody bought it, there's no, there's no lands in my deed for them. Government owns them. Divvy up those land and make part of those lands agriculture bearing land. So you identify, the government can identify those land, the people in those districts, like bring people that live in your different district and I got extra land. When you go to your town hall meeting, you tell the people we get land here for agriculture. You tell them so they can go and write a law to give your land. Not only the land, you identify the land for the agriculture. You also tell them you want funding in the agriculture budget for your district for nursery trees. Also for seeds, not GMO seeds, because we can always rotate the land. And then also provide avenue when those fruits and vegetables from those trees, or the products from those nursery trees and those seeds. How can we work on the finished product and products to be produced in Liberia in your district? So your district get, let's say, 100-acre for your district. Then the lawmaker that can't bring a vision to your telling, for agriculture, we want X amount of land. We want funding, we want seed. Like, show me the money. Tell us where the money at. Because when you show the money, you give it to, oh, when I'm full for you. Or we'll protest in our district, we'll move from there by force, by fire. We want that. So that's the agriculture setting. That's how you start to empower yourself. Because like Cynthia can always say, the power is inherently in the people. We get the power. So that's agriculture. That would be my recommendation tonight. For healthcare, instead of us increasing and giving money for people to go visit constituent and whatever, or hiring no good diasporan Liberian. Look, let me tell you, and I'm waiting for the talking point. Liberia problem, the Liberian women. Liberia problem, the Liberian women plus diasporan Liberian. We ain't do jack on the side. Bunch of gravy seeker rotating from party to party to continue the corruption. And the third Liberian problem, we get dirty house, we get food to eat, we get food, clothing, and shelter. Who are 2025? Those four talking point, I'm waiting for on it. That's our problem with your diasporan Liberian. So, say you're in love with hiring diasporan Liberian. Like about my healthcare point. Hire people only with skill set. The other day they say a neurosurgeon. You know what it is to go to be a neurosurgeon? That's the top of the surgical food chain. That means 4 year of college, 4 year medical school, 7 years
Yes,
of
thank them. I'm
residency.
sorry. They say I'm gonna break down the GMO. They don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just a messenger.
okay, we want seeds. Yeah, because we are telling the go to the condition. We want seeds with antibiotic in it.
All
We want
chemical.
seeds from the westerner that will come and say your plant they ready can grow fast. Even though it will grow fast, it will also have some properties in it that's not good for our health. So if you're going to give us, well, and we want free rights, we want to grow our own food. That's what I meant when I said GMO. I mean, I probably pronouncing it wrong, but I just mean we don't want artificial stuff to say that we're being productive. Let me go back to my healthcare. You got a neurosurgeon that was just visiting and giving his time the other day. And I hear that they decided for that district that he lived in to work at JFK, they only gave him 2,500.
And then
Then,
take your last one there and get you 900.
yeah, $900. Then I'd rather be a generator. My girlfriend say, my uncle Brown, I want to be a generator. Because a generator get 3,500. The only skill set I would say, I say I want to be a generator. Because if I'm going to spend 7 years of surgical residency, 7 years, so four, you finish high school, 4 years, medical school, 4 year college, medical school, 7 years residency, then the experience. You can give somebody now, right?
But
Then I
Sharon,
want to be, then I want to be generator then. Let me
Sis
be
Peter
Sharon,
generator.
wants it.
can I
Yeah,
jump in
my
real quick?
Peter wants to say something.
No, just about the residency. They need to know what residency means.
Okay.
Residency,
After they go to college, so you're training and finish high school. Then they go to college where they say, oh, my son graduated from LU, like the college. When they finish graduating from LU, they got to go to in Liberia. It's called AM Douglas Medical School. When the school right on the avenue there, where the medical people go learn how to learn science in depth. When they finish, will have 4 years. Then they say, "Oh, you won't go to labor, baby. You won't go work in the hospital where you prescribe medicine. You won't go and do stomach surgery, or you won't go do brain surgery, heart surgery."
Most of like rest of general practice. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the
Yes.
specialty is brain surgery. You know, the time you had an accident.
Yep.
Brain bleed, they gotta go take the blood from there. That surgery, that the higher surgery, the brain surgery people.
Yep.
They're part of residency, they're part to go back to after medical school, they got to go in the hospital and practice for
Yep.
7 more years,
Yep.
working 80 hours a week in the America.
yes.
They only get in how much? My residency, my job make $50,000 a year. So they're about $15
That's
an
where I
hour,
want you. That's why
$20.
I want you. That's why I want you to go. How hard? How much? You're a cowboy for a real doctor. They go get me coffee. Go do this, and it work 80 hours a week. They do the worst thing. They have to literally pay their dues. For you to do that for
Before they
7 whole
get
years,
into the trip, yes.
for you to be
Okay.
the top of the top and work that hard for 7 whole years is a very,
And
very
then they pay, and when they get all the experience, they pay them. My hospital, the minimum is $1.5 million. That kind of
Yep.
man leave and say, let me go get my whole summer. You know what it is? You know what kind of country to make a visit that man marry, get children, leave children, to go in Liberia, to go volunteer and give back.
Where they can ration it like
Why should
and
I
it
like, and not only that,
and
so
it
that was saying,
all work out for the time.
so you do that, you get that 900. Then when the men decide to come back home for the Christmas break, like the men you won't put your more on. Doing something in your mate, skill set that's pouring that brain that decide to come back. Like your mate. Me, I decide to come back to give back. I admit. Don't bring your nonsense to me. I will toot my own. And now your mate when I come
So
back.
you think what's it to now?
Yeah, I first say I rap
I
here
thought
to
you the
you.
one supposed to be the balancing the
Ah, I know that the people that have made so when they want higher tax parent Liberian, tell them we want no sociology person here. We want no psychology person here. We want no economic, regular economic person. We want political science. We want no skill set. Hire the plumber. I rather you hire the plumber than hire some person that did sociology, get master degree, he even manager for one cardboard store we got called Walmart. He even be manager there. you behave. So you're telling you're my only hire that's pouring like bread that got skill. I talk about the neurosurgeon, they were disrespecting that man when you keep for Christmas time to visit with your family. Radiologists, that tell them say we want money for the data then work and go to school for a long time. The data then too that can see because the neurosurgeon he get bionic eye. He get eye where he can see between me and our skin. We want the radiologist there and provide money for CAT scan, MRI. And the people who go through the machine so the radiologist can tell the neurosurgeon this is what we see. You show the money for that mechanical device, MRI, CT scan. You show the money for the drugs. We need to buy drugs. I
Okay.
actually can't bring my loved one
Okay.
after an
Quiet
accident. I
tonight,
got to
okay?
run to the hospital to go buy blood or
Become
water to
quiet
put in my
tonight,
loved one.
darling, so we can go to bed. Jack, my sister is at to now.
Yeah. And
Learn.
also, right in Liberia, they open school for lab techs. You ain't got to send in Ghana. You will hire one to experience skill set teacher, they open lab to find them to draw the lab, how to put the lab, the blood under the microscope, how to do all of that. Tell them in your town hall meeting, Nigeria Healthcare and Agriculture, I will jump on education and the LU people then little. That's how you start moving the country forward. The power is in you to tell your lawmaker then what you want when you're and he won't come to the meeting. Let him get his constituent money. They want to say 350,000 now, 210,000 go to 3 million. Let him you create your own committee in your district and then get you the money. You rent one town hall, you hire your meeting, you draw your proposal, you call possibly you're sitting, you call Coach Q, and then party that talking your interest. You say, I will have a meeting today. Okay, can you join via Facebook Live? Can you also ITL we read the paper, we get the lawmaker. The lawmaker, you want to look at your start protesting, he like to just get out of the seat. And then when they will move forward, the people enjoying it will be high. So that's how we move the country forward. So we'll tell you what you're doing. You're sitting here, we'll tell you the historical thing because she been innocent, Charlie Quintan, and we'll tell you how you should move forward. And we'll tell you, yeah, and we'll tell you who to have to pick to help you up. Tell you know better for yourself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll stop that tonight.
The next practitioner went all the way out tonight.
And
Please
I'm not
submit.
partition. I say I'm market woman and I
I
selling
love it.
Kobo.
You
I
must
love
You
it.
submit.
see me,
Tell me
you
when
see
you're
me
ready.
selling food. You see me selling food
I'm
on
Yes,
here.
Facebook.
yes,
Help the
Sandy.
lady.
Yes, Sandy. Can I drop something else? And it's 2 seconds.
Yes,
So
go ahead.
one of
Go
the
ahead.
reasons why people say they're going to Ellen didn't support Joseph Boycott because he was going to prosecute her, right? When's that old lying goat going to? When the prosecution going to stop? I want to know that UP
Start
people. You
costing our
quiet.
president. Start costing our president.
That's what you okay. So everyone, for those of you who cannot join in with us tonight, thank you so much for being here. We're about if we have 4 or 5 person that listens. I know most of you will come later and listen. By next month we should be back as we're on the air in Liberia.
Yay!
We're working on some stuff. We want to get to the soul of the matter. We are here. We already know what we know. We have to take the time to educate our people. And folks, Liberian all around, I know some of you come and say you're doing a great job. We will need everyone to put their money where their mouth is if we really want to change. If we're all frustrated, we have to invest our time because, like Peter said earlier, this is us. This is the generation that is pouring money into Liberia. Our children are dating other people. Some of them will settle in America. Some of them will settle in Nigeria. Some of them will go to Ghana. Some of them will go to Europe. Some of them will go to Asia. Those are the people they're growing up with. They're not growing up in Liberian community. They're not going to Liberian community schools. Okay. You are not creating an environment for us to bring our children home to meet their peers. Okay. You're creating a class system. Okay. So our daughters are trying to go to medical school, they're trying to go to engineering school, they're trying to go here and there. They're not coming home to come marry your son that is riding motorbike and you're comfortable with it. They're just not. I'm sorry. That's the fact. There's no disrespect.
No.
That's why some of us speak. Okay? That's why some of us speak. And most of us who are here, put me money here and there, we're getting water. We're about to retire. We will not have the funds that we have to be sending 800, okay, or $1 billion to Liberia annually. And this is something for all of you to think about before we go tonight. Joseph Boikai revealed his it's not arrest anymore. It's aid or whatever it is, ARD something now. And he's telling us they're gonna invest 8 billion plus, but out of the 8 billion, Liberia will come up with what 3 billion, and the Liberian diaspora will come up with 7 billion. Apparently, we will, because last year we put about 8 billion, 8
Yeah.
800 million dollars. So we almost put a million. But one thing that he must remember, and this is sad, those who I run there and talking, you came to power to rescue. You brought no tourniquet. You brought no emergency kit. You brought no first responders. If we were in a fire, all of us would have died from smoke. If we were drowning, all of us would have died because there was no breath given to us. You cannot do compression in the chest. So you just took us from the water and put us down to breathe slowly to death. Now, 1 year has passed. No, you do not have 2029, because 2029 is election year. You will be too busy. You are repeating exactly what CDC did. CDC came to power right away. They started running campaign, stealing as far as they came. But you have actually outdone CDC, because CDC, I can be merciful to CDC because I can tell you for free from the onset. I say, George, we already know it. That's not his area. And most of the people he brought, they were young or they were old and unsophisticated. You brought you people who they say are old, but they're sophisticated looters. That's what they are. Now, you are telling us 2029. 2029, you want me to get you married. You want to give your daughter out, but you want me to pay 70% of your requirement as a parent. Enjoy. Something have to be run with that math, and people actually put that out there. You can be, listen to the people. Those who, they say the king is only as good as his advisor. That's why those days, the men around the king, they call them wise men, or they were philosophers. They were the best among the best. They were people who thought, were thinkers by any stretch of the place. You cannot bring these people, these hungry people who are not thinking, and give you paper and you go. So tonight is already late. We overstay our time. Liberian people, the road that you people are taking, we must try the road less taken. We have followed the road to the known. We have followed the road to the tribe. We have traveled the road to the party. We need to go to the road that we have never been before. That would be start thinking, which road have we not taken before? What direction have we taken and we've been lost over and over? You think about it. Those type Peter's words, I'm just borrowing it. But I will also say with Robert Frost, the road less taken. Let's think about it. Good night, everyone.
The road less taken leads to
Yes,
Good night.
beautiful destination.
thank you. Yes.
Yeah, the road in Liberia going to foyer. Joseph Boycott.